Hello, I'm Jim Foster. We're in Isabel Pass in the Alaska Range. I want to talk about Ferdinand Magellan. Magellan is famous for something he never did. Known to the world as the great circumnavigator, he actually did not complete the circle. He made it halfway to the Philippines, where he died in a battle with locals there, but one of the ships of his expedition did indeed make it back to Spain. In September of 1519, 5 ships, 270 souls, left the coast of Spain, Sanlúcar de Barrameda, to sail west and to find a route around the New World in the back way to the Spice Islands. This was the mission that Columbus embarked upon in 1492, backed by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. Well, here 27 years later, the grandson of Ferdinand and Isabella, King Charles, 18 years old at the time, had agreed to back an expedition led by Magellan to lead these 5 ships across the Atlantic Ocean through a strait that Magellan insisted he knew existed at the southern end of South America, across the Pacific Ocean and to the Spice Islands. The expedition was an adventure story from the very beginning. Intrigue and mutiny, fighting with the locals, disease, starvation, scurvy, incredible storms. It went on, and this is in a time when the navigational philosophy at the time was based upon a geocentric belief that the heavens circled around the earth. It was a geocentric cosmology. So they're trying to follow and do celestial navigation on a false premise that the stars were rotating around the earth. They had no charge beyond a certain point of South America. These mariners were incredible sailors, and with the iron will and the drive of Magellan, were able to survive all the hazards that they faced ultimately until they got to the Philippines. That's where Magellan met his end by getting involved in a squabble between some chiefs in the central Philippines. I mean, he mistakenly led a party of 48 mariners ashore to take on hundreds, if not thousands, of natives, and wound up being targeted and killed there in Mactan Island and across the waterway from Cebu in the central Philippines. At that point, there were only 3 of the ships left of the 5. One had been wrecked off the south coast of South America, off Argentina, present day, and one had abandoned the expedition when they had made it into the straits that had become known as the Straits of Magellan. The San Antonio, the largest of the 5 ships, with most of the stores, while they were reconnoitering the Straits of Magellan, the crew mutinied, overthrew the captain, and turned tail and sailed back to Spain. The 3 ships that made it to the Philippines, by the time Magellan was killed, they had been reduced in number, and that was made worse by a slaughter that occurred right after Magellan had died in battle. His chief, the ally, Raja Humabon in Cebu City, turned on the survivors. This had been a staunch ally of Magellan prior to Magellan being killed. And now that Magellan was killed, Raja Humabon turned on the surviving officers of the fleet, invited them ashore for a feast. They, unknown to them that they were going to be killed, slaughtered the officers of the fleet, and now the 3 remaining ships had only enough personnel on board to sail 2 of them. They took the ship, the Conception, to the south side of Bohol Island in the central Philippines. They burnt it and split up the men from the Conception. They now had 2 ships, the Trinidad and the Victoria, and they sailed around the Philippine Islands for a while. They went around to Borneo and visited that rich kingdom for a bit, and then they made their way finally to the Spice Islands.